the fever this spring with disco sensations Peaches and Herb, Gary's Gang, and Willie Ames in Paradise, plus the bluegrass sound of Montezuma's Revenge, and dancing to the Sunshine Balloon and Papa Do Run Run, April 8th through 14th till midnight.
Disneyland, Disneyland,
Yo, what's up? How's it going? How is it going? Let me get this chat popped out here and we'll get started. What's up, Gary? How you doing? If anybody is joining me on the replay, I like to take the first 5 minutes and say hello to everyone. So if you're looking for some of that hot content that we teased in the title, then just go ahead and scrub ahead, because I got to say hi to everybody that's fitting me into their Friday. Always pleased to see that. Let me see. I got some folks to say hello to. Veronica, what's up? Andrew, Brick, JT, how you doing? Reporting for duty. I'm going to wear you out today. Laura Jean, how you doing, Laura? Elena, how you doing? Gina, what's up? Yes, you're right. It is Friday. But although I'll say Friday during COVID times is kind of depressing because you're like, okay, and then what? What do we do this weekend? Oh man, so good to be back. A lot of stuff happened this week. A lot of good stuff to talk about this week. It feels like that drip of new news is finally finding its way back to all of us. Jeff, it's freezing here in Southern California. Or maybe I didn't want to do my hair. Dave, what's up? Breeze, how you doing, man? You love Friday regardless of COVID times or not? I can respect that. Veronica says Fridays don't matter much when you have kids. Oof. Oh, I tip me beanie at you. Federal says not having to wake up, work, and help manage my kids on the weekend is definitely welcome. Yeah, I forget some of you guys. The weekend is like actually a break in the schedule there. Andrew says 13 degrees wind chill here in New York. Oh, dude, it's way colder out here today. Please, your New York weather is child's play compared to the rain that we got last night. Well done, Legacy Pass video, I believe. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Melissa says currently watching this at work, so I'm very thankful it's Friday. Yeah, Melissa's boss. What's up? Let me give you a shout out. Melissa's boss. What do you think about the new Jungle Cruise? Oh, right on. Well, I appreciate everybody showing up. I always do like to start out saying hi to everybody, giving people a chance to pop in here and to hang out with us on a Friday. Jackie says raining in Vegas today. Whoa, end times. And let's see here. Andrew says, I hope your mountains got lots of snow to hold that water for you next year. Man, oh man. The best thing about when it rains here is the next day when I was driving to Disney this week, oh man, I was like, look at those mountains up there. What a view. There's like 5-6 Matterhorns straight ahead of me. What am I doing here? Okay, so let's Mamelka, what's up, bud? Welcome. Good to see you here. Only 1/3 of the folks have hit that like button. Well, I haven't done much yet. So if you're going to be conservative with your thumbs up, I'll give you a pass. Snow on the Matterhorn. Tracy Lee, have you not noticed that the Matterhorn is snow peaked as you get up to the top of it? I mean, painted snow. What are you going to do? Before we get started today, I so fascinated with this one Disneyland Christmas thing that I wish they would bring back. Have you guys ever seen the old vintage photos of the sort of atomic age Christmas star that they used to put on top of the Matterhorn? Man, that's one of those things that the budget would be minimal, but putting that back on the Matterhorn would just crush everybody's heart. That'd be so good. So good. JT says, I'm very liberal with my likes for AID. I appreciate that. Matt says, have a day off from school, home for the day so I can finally enjoy the 13th hour. 1% of life is good. All right. Awesome. the Matterhorn Star. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, I don't have the pictures readily to show you. And if I go down that wormhole, then the whole show falls apart. But Elena, just Google it. Matterhorn Christmas Star. I'm sure it'll pop up. And man, it is so cool. All right, we're getting ready to hit 5 after, which is when I promised that I start talking about things. So let me take down the starting soon, so folks that are scrubbing can have an idea that we have officially started. Raymond says, lived 4+ decades in Chicago. So cold. Rain is not pleasant, but I can handle a few. Ready to hear your insights. Okay, let's get started here. Well, I really want to hear everybody else's insights on the Jungle Cruise re-theme, but let's jump in. I'll give you my opinion, and then I definitely want to hear what you have to say, because the 13th hour is when we get together each and every Friday so that we can have a conversation about Disney, and for me to talk about some things that I just couldn't quite fit into the podcast, Disneyland for Designers, or fit into the YouTube channel with a Disney News video. So the Jungle Cruise, when this came out, I was very excited to see that this was getting refreshed. I've been historically very vocal on how I love the Jungle Cruise because it's a 1955 classic. A couple of things that I really do adore about the Jungle Cruise is I love when you're standing on Main Street, USA, when you look over to your left, if you're facing Sleeping Beauty's castle, if you look over to the west, I love that the tree line that you see there is the tree line of the Jungle Cruise, because emotionally it feels so far away from us. But those trees remind us that at Disneyland, everything is a sleight of hand magic trick, and that it's literally right on the other side of those trees. And a really cool fun fact, those trees are some of the very first things that were put up at Disneyland. They immediately put in that tree line so they could have a solid windbreak for when they were building Main Street USA. They didn't want the wind to whip through and knock everything over, because after all, when they were putting Disneyland in Anaheim in 54 into 55, there wasn't really anything in Anaheim. So I love that it's that historic and it's that rooted in. And I love that Harper Golf had a lot to do with the design of it, and his interaction with meeting Walt Disney. Walt outbid him on a train in like some sort of weird rich guy auction, and then Walt hires the guy. And Harper had such a heavy hand in the Mickey Mouse park design that then flowed over into Disneyland. And one thing that you'll always have to love about the Jungle Cruise, well, you don't have to love it, but I think what really makes it special is it shows the convenience of a new park, because its entire footprint sits inside the outer perimeter of the railroad tracks. That's something that doesn't happen too often anymore, right? Like everything else that we've really seen pop up, take everything in our lifetime, Indiana Jones, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Toontown, all of these different things sort of pushed out the boundaries of Disneyland. So Jungle Cruise is a massive footprint, and it still sits right inside Walt's original Magic Kingdom of 55. So I really enjoy that about it. Also, when you look at old footage, the Jungle Cruise was a really big deal. I mean, people had not seen anything like that before in the world of entertainment, much less at a theme park. So whenever you comb over old home movies, I can guarantee you that you're always going to see Main Street footage. People love Main Street in 55 in the early 60s when they were shooting their home videos, and people adored the Jungle Cruise because it was just that exotic. Going around those two islands, one island named Manhattan, the other island named Catalina, so that the Jungle Cruise itself represents East and West, right? Because that's the whole idea of going around the Nile. But where I fall out of love with the Jungle Cruise and the original Jungle Cruise of back in the day, the front facade, like it was kind of on the edge of the park, and it just looked so much more jungly before Adventureland kind of, had to become a nice walkway to get over to New Orleans Square in the 60s. So where I kind of fall out of love with it, it's not that the animatronics, they're not even animatronics, they're robotics. It's not that the robots are slow and outdated. I love vintage. I love vintage all the time. I don't like that it was lacking a definite story. And I'm not big. I mean, I love humor. I love trying to be funny. I love trying to make people laugh. I love when I do the Disneyland News videos. I love to try to slide something in there. Like I was proud of yesterday's video when I told you that I thought that Disneyland would reopen on July 17th and that you wouldn't be able to go because you'd already be blocked out because it's a Saturday. Like I like that kind of humor, but the punny humor, elephants that didn't bring their trunks, and I guess they're just monkeying around, like that just isn't my thing. I find it to be a complete cringe factor. And when I ride the Jungle Cruise, I just sit like this because I really don't know where to put my eyes because it's just that awkward, because lots of times the skipper's just bombing. Some people don't know what to expect. Some people do. And I don't know, even though I'm a guy that loves awkward moments, go look at Tuesday's live stream when I gave somebody a balloon. Even though I love and adore awkward moments, it's just not fun for me. And so when I saw that they were updating the Jungle Cruise, I was a little bit scared that they were going to put a Rock animatronic in there, which to me, I love The Rock. I think his trajectory in his career, going from the WWE during the Attitude era all the way up to being one of the biggest names in film and cinema. Like, what an amazing career the man has had. But I think if you have an animatronic of The Rock and the Jungle Cruise, then it starts to feel like Universal. And I know a lot of people love Universal, but that's just not my thing. That's not my brand. So I was very excited to see that in my mind, what this update does is it fixes some real fundamental problems with the Jungle Cruise. I know the humor's still there, but the humor will be sort of focused now because they're finally giving the Jungle Cruise an actual storyline, a real storyline. So we're not just on a boat saying goodbye to everybody at the dock because we're never going to come back. We're actually going on the rivers. We're going on a quest. As always with attractions, something went wrong and we're going to kind of be there to witness it. So I really do love the idea of it having a through line, a narrative. And I think that I'll be able to take the jokes more if the jokes work into an overall story. Because right now it's just like amateur comedian on, open mic night, just kind of driving a boat and just throwing a bunch of stuff at you, and the only good thing about the COVID plexiglass is I hope that it blocks some of the jokes, those new shield protectors that they put on the boat. So the storyline is fantastic. I look forward to that. It sounds like they are going to update some of the vignettes, and some of them are a little long in the tooth. There you go. Some good Jungle Cruise humor for you. But I'm also very, very excited that it sounds like they're going to fix the end, where the tribesmen, I know they weren't doing that to outwardly be racist, but they just haven't aged well over 65 years. And it's a little bit gross to me that as you're coming through the boat, that once again, and this is my thought, not Disneyland's, but it just is kind of more of that portrayal of the black man as the boogeyman that's out to get you. I've heard some other content creators say that they believe that Trader Sam is going to stay. I don't think so. And if Trader Sam does stay, I think that it will be a reimagined. And so we got into a debate the other night, and I'm dying to hear some of your opinions. We got into a debate. If Trader Sam goes away, does Trader Sam, the restaurant, need to be renamed? And I think the answer is no. I think that what Disney has unique ability to do is still keep the Jungle Cruise, right? Like, this isn't Splash Mountain that is tethered to a body of work that outwardly is just completely old-fashioned and antiquated by today's, even most conservative outlooks. Disneyland with the Jungle Cruise has the ability to retell the story. So Trader Sam doesn't need to be a fearful aborigine with a spear. And see, I don't even know if you're supposed to use that word anymore, but it doesn't need to be this like gruesome headhunter. It could be like a slick, cool guy, right? With like sort of jungle fatigues on and a machete, and sort of be the guy that has mastered the wilderness, that a guy that knows the woods, or not the woods, knows the jungle like the back of his hand. So I really believe that they have the ability to retell this story because it is an innocent story. It is a pure story. It's just, hey, the world has changed over 65 years, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't you want to say that right now, at whatever age you are, that you're a better person than you were 10, 20 years ago? Friends, I can tell you straight up, at my age of I am a way better person than I was at 36, 20. Oh, I'm giving it away if I keep going with sixes. Anyways, I am way better, way more of an evolved person than I once was. And I'm proud of that. And I think Disney has that ability as well. So when we look at the artwork, they're still keeping the Mark Davis humor, which was so important that got injected into this. But we look at our people that are on the pole, and it's no longer like a white guy at the top with all the, Sherpas, for lack of better terms, that he's hired to guide him on a privileged trip through the jungle. It's a boat full of explorers. There's a photographer, there's an artist, there's a scientist, there's a bird watcher. Like, I love that now it's a roundabout group of people, as if you were going to go on an African exploration right now today. You would probably be like, hey, I'm Mark from California. I'm a podcaster. What do you do? Oh, I work at this place, or, I'm a birder. I'm out here to take photos. Like, this is more what a jungle cruise would be like in this time. And then this scene with the monkeys taking over the boat, like, it's fantastic. Like, I love the vignettes. I love the humor. I love the daringness of the lions eating the zebra. I mean, there are fun things in there. It's just the cringe was too much. So I know a lot of people were really wanting to hear my own personal essay on these changes, because I have been extremely vocal on how much I despise the current state of the Jungle Cruise. And so now I'm just going to rip through the comments over here, because I want to see what so many of you have to say. Because I had to focus and not look at everything you're saying. Scary Gary says, I think the Jungle Cruise refresh gives more hope for more refreshes for more classic attractions. Any fresh are good in general, and at least to get more people to fall in love with the classics, in his opinion. Yeah, I think that the refreshes shouldn't be looked at as this, like, oh my God, it's sacred. As long as they don't rip the Jungle Cruise out and put something else in there, I'm fine with updates. And I think that, other than maybe your grandparents, most people love to update their homes, repaint things, redesign things. So I think that it's a good thing. I think it's a really good thing. Let's see here. Mamelka is excited for refurb, and just kind of cruising through to see. Jackie says, I've had a hard time with change in general, but I've never been disappointed with anything Disney has changed, so I'm optimistic. Yeah, I get that, Jackie. I mean, there is a complete what's the word I'm looking for? There is a complete familiarity to Disneyland, right? Like, you go there because it's escapism, but it's also, what you're getting into. But as I look at things over the years, the updates to the Haunted Mansion have been really nice. The major overhaul they did to Big Thunder Mountain was really nice. Like, it's hard for me off the top of my head to think of a classic that they've worsened. Maybe Utopia, because, well, no, I take that back, because everybody loves Bird. Ha! I'm Bird. What's with Bird, man? What's with Bird? Nikki says the recent refreshes have been awesome, so I'm really looking forward to this. Let me see here. Gina says, when things get a refurb, I'm always skeptical of the change, but then I end up loving the refurb even better. So now I trust those darned Imagineers. I mean, I think the most significant refurb or rebrand that we've seen is Tower of Terror going into Guardians of Galaxy Mission Breakout. And I mean, I remember how angry everybody was. And I would say that if you left DCA and you were to get a survey on what were your top 3 or top 5 experiences, most people would say that Guardians was one of the best things that they did that day. Jeff Pike says, I'm more than good with changes. So glad there were only be Easter eggs from the Jungle Cruise movie. Sorry, Dwayne. Yeah, I feel like that's the most appropriate move, right? To put some nods in there, but let's not tether it to the film so much. And, Pirates of the Caribbean is really good because they just put Jack Sparrow in there. They didn't completely gut it and tear the whole thing apart and make it into something else. Federalist says, I just lean into supporting the skipper. Well, you never lean into supporting me, Federalist. Why can't I get a little bit of that skipper love that you're just giving out? Let's see here. Trying to see if anybody is opposed to this. Nikki says the bar is fine. They can give them a new backstory for that. Yeah, I completely agree. It's just a matter of rewriting it. Nikki says I felt somewhat outdated, but I think the ride needed to stay. So it's going to be the best thing for this land. Anna B says, sorry, I'm late. So you don't think they won't have skipper jokes anymore? No, I think they will have skipper jokes. I just think that inside of a storyline, the jokes might be more bearable. See what I did there? Raymond says, I'd like to be raw, jungly in our semi-desert Southern California as the corny joke scenes diminishes my immersion into the awesome jungle. See, Raymond, if you gave me my opinion on how I would retheme the Jungle Cruise, and I've said this plenty of times when we've done our live stream hangouts, I think it should just feel like you're going into a classic Walt Disney nature documentary. Like, I would just love like old-timey radio playing, and then the skipper tells you some fun facts about the animals, and like old-timey commercials that come in that maybe have some jokes in them. Like, I would love it just to really feel like you have stepped into a boat in the Nile in the 60s and you're going out filming a nature documentary, because the way that those early nature documentaries were made were so gnarly. But that's me, and I might not be the target demo for this, as I've aged out of target demos. Let's see here. Anybody else that has a major bone with this? Mamelka says, I think the jokes will stay, just going to move through the story instead of individual scenes. Yeah, I mean, if we get to love these new characters that have sort of set out on, Gilligan's Isle, it might make the jokes a little bit better and a little bit tethered into something. Yeah, that's what I think. Let's see. Veronica says, what if the skipper spoke in an old-timey way, too, in full character? Oh, man. Yeah, see those tigers over there? See, those tigers can run 35 miles an hour. You'll never stand a chance against one of those tigers, see? I would be into that. I've often prayed. I love the Jingle Cruise, and I think what made me really like the Jingle Cruise is, admittedly, I'm a complete Christmas junkie, but also the idea of the Jungle Cruise having a narration. I really liked the presents floating in the water, and that all these Christmas gifts just sort of exploded out of this plane before it crashed or had to cut weight. I like that it added that storyline to something that's just kind of a random cringe fest. And I've always prayed that there'd just be two lines: skipper boat, skipperless boat. I mean, it'd still have somebody steering the boat, but they're just like an Uber driver. They're like, I chose the option, don't talk to me. And you guys have heard me do this before, but in that one, I want to just be in that old-timey boat going through the jungle with all the Christmas lights on it. And then I just want that cracked speaker AM radio just being, you're on your Walt Disney's Jungle Cruise, see? Happy holidays, everybody. The spirit of 1966. Like, that is my dream Jungle Cruise for the holidays. Just come on, man. Come on, Bobs. Give it to me. All right, let me see if there's any other comments, and then we'll move on to our next topic. Chris Murray says, what makes this attraction so rewritable is the skipper. Sometimes you get a bad one and you're disappointed, but if you get a good one, it's perfection. Chris, I've yet to have a good one. I know a lot of people love that randomness of it, and there is something charming about that. And I'll agree with you. It's just not my favorite, even though aesthetically and what it means to the history, I love it. And I kind of feel like that's the magic about Disneyland. You can absolutely be in love with something because you love the idea of it, but you're like, I don't partake. Like, I think that the Incredicoaster looks beautiful on Pixar Pier. I rode it one time, and the only thing I could say afterwards, because I felt so sick, was I said to Beth as I was leaning on a palm tree right when you get off there, I told Beth, she's like, are you okay? And I go, if I throw up, make sure you film it for Instagram. That's all I could get out. All right, let's see here. Federalist says, I have a bone because Disney should absolutely do what they think is best for all their customers. It's hard for me to buy into the idea that D can't do an attraction where guests cruising Jungle Cruise come up against a tribe that doesn't like their presence. I'm having a little bit of a hard time reading that and making sense of it. So I'm going to pass just because I'm having a hard time processing that live. It's too many words for my slow brain. Renee says, pumped about the storyline, but really hope they don't put an animatronic of the Rock. I believe, Renee, they've already said there will not be an animatronic of the Rock. I've heard people speculate on that when I was watching some other Disney content, because I watch a lot of Disney YouTube. But I'm pretty sure they specifically said there will not be a rock animatronic. So there you go. Scary Gary says, Brickey, go at night. I've only had good ones at night. I do love the Jungle Cruise, the Jingle Cruise at night. I think that's so good. So good. All right. Let's put an end to this. Let's move on to our next topic. But before we do that, today's show is sponsored, and I have to play one of our ads. So please don't leave, because I think you'll like who's sponsoring today's show.
This is a world of excitement. The right world for 1964 RCA Victor New Vista TV. Here is television so powerful, we invite you to compare it against any make, anywhere, on any channel. Rugged. That's another word for RCA Victor New Vista TV. Precision made with space-age sealed circuitry. If you're looking for excitement, look for RCA Victor New Vista TV. See the full line at your RCA Victor dealers now.
There you go. Thank you to RCA and the Jungle Cruise for sponsoring today's live stream. All right, that gives me a chance to get a little something to drink here. All right, moving up. So Monday, January 25th, 2021, the year of our Lord and Savior, was the day that we learned that the Jungle Cruise was going to get rethemed. But also on Monday, 25th, 2021, the year in our Lord and Savior, was when we learned that the California stay-at-home order was lifted. Now, I'm not going to get into the COVID talk just yet. There's something else we have coming up on today's show. But I will say that I was very shocked, because all the things that I was told were the reason why we were shutting down, I don't feel like they really went away. So I almost feel like, in a very interesting way, that it could be, I don't know. It reminds me of last summer when we were told that, hey, everything can open back up, because California was feeling peer pressure from other states. And so they did open up, and it looks like I'm getting some new subscribers. Thank you. So it did reopen, and then had to reclose. So I almost feel like this could be an instance where we are reopening, maybe out of peer pressure. We can't keep businesses closed for too long, but it definitely feels like it came out of nowhere. And I also feel like it came out of nowhere for Disney as well, because they just kind of are scrambling to get food back into the park. So it's going to be really, really interesting. Besan Prime says this soft reopening, testing the waters, going to reclose again. Prime, I don't think that you're wrong, bud. I don't think that you're wrong. I hope that it does keep going. What's up, Neil? How you doing, buddy? So what's up, Tony Mac? So it does seem that it kind of came out of nowhere, almost like a peer pressure thing, or maybe Gavin's looking out for a little bit of self-protection because he's made a lot of people very upset. But I'm kind of under the mindset, if these are the rules, let's stick to the rules so we can get to a better and brighter day faster. Regardless, as of time of going live today, the 13th hour of the day, there hasn't been an official, like, we're reopening. I had seen just before I went live that some of the downtown Disney restaurants will be opening Saturday. I think like Tortilla Joe's is opening today or tomorrow, and others would follow suit. I do know that Disney has contacted their union workers, and there's like a couple hundred cast members, awesome for them, that are going to get to come back to work, which is really, really cool. So I'm excited about that on behalf of the cast members. But I haven't seen a hard date, which is kind of interesting to me, because you would think that this would be something that they would want to have had a plan to jump on. But, you know, it goes to show that even when we get back to being in a really good spot with COVID and being able to reopen theme parks in California, there's going to be a window, right? It's going to be, you know, hey, you guys get permission on this Monday. It's going to be 6 weeks until they reopen the park. So it has been very interesting to see, you know, this sort of checkered flag on Monday and, just kind of a running start. So I'd love to know for you guys, do you feel like it's time to reopen food and drink? Is this going to bring you back out to the resort? I mean, I remember that Monday, December 7th is when they pulled the rug out from underneath the restaurateurs, and I went for my birthday on the 8th, and oh my God, what a depressing Disney trip. And it was one of those things where it's like, in the old world, you'd be like, monkey paw, I want to go to DCA and be by myself. And then the monkey paw gives you that wish. And that wish is because there's a global pandemic going on, and you go there and it's incredibly sad. So I'm excited to hear. Gina says, we're thinking positive. Outdoor dining is back tomorrow. I'll take it. I know that they were pulling some of the tables and chairs out, but I don't think the DCA restaurants will be open by tomorrow, but I mean, it would be awesome if they did. Nikki says they're supposed to start training on Sunday for restaurant reopening via Mice Chat. There we go. Yeah, I was handed some intel that they will be reopening, but a couple of things that weren't on the list is it seems that they're not going to reopen the third Starbucks inside the Fiddler, Pfeiffer, and Pumpernickel inside of DCA. So maybe they're thinking 2 Starbucks is 2 enough, and that they're not going to reopen this one. And I'll have to say that the Starbucks in DCA was one of the places that I actually went indoor and did a little shopping, because 1, I'm a junkie and always have one of these next to me, but 2, I love going to that Starbucks and then ripping a bench. But every time I went in there, I was the only guest that was in there. So it's going to be interesting to see when and if that opens. And then another one that kind of surprised me, I was given some intel that Gone Hollywood will not be reopening anytime soon, which was interesting because Gone Hollywood sits inside the footprint of the area that we're allowed to be into. But maybe, and I know that it did open up just like the week before Christmas, but it only had repetitive holiday merchandise that you could find in World of Disney, on sidewalks throughout DCA, and also over in the backlot studio shop. So it was a repetitive merchandise. But I also think that maybe when Award Wieners opens, that having Gone Hollywood and Award Wieners open, it creates a logistical people flow problem. Although they could easily have Award Wieners folks go that way and have Gone Hollywood people go that way. I'm getting this weatherman thing down after months of live streaming at home, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what it's like. I definitely am looking forward to having just that leisure, right? The ability to demask, remove yourself from the rest of your fellow citizens of Disneyland and just sit down and, take it all in. Like, I had a phenomenal time going to Smoke Jumpers, getting a burger and the onion rings, sitting at that very last table at Grizzly Peak, and just like, man, I'm by myself and it's weird as hell, but I'm in a Disney park and I'm having a treat and the music's playing and I feel the vibes and my heart feels about as full as you can imagine a heart to feel in 2020. So it'll be interesting. Neil says, I can't do much without coffee in hand. Neil, you're my kind of animal. By the way, Neil, I'm happy to hear that you and your family have bounced back from COVID. And it always just terrifies me when anybody in my world comes down with it. Also, if Manny Avocado shows up today or watches this at a later time, happy for your recovery as well. Let's see. Megan says, I'd love to watch a live stream of the Hammer Time crew eating a sit-down meal at the resort. You guys complain when Hammer Time eats anything on the radio. Why would I ever live stream us eating a meal together? And for those of you who don't know, Hammer Time is a podcast that I do every Friday with one of my sponsors and best friends, Violent Gentlemen. And it is feral. This is me on my best behavior. That's me on my worst. So there you go. You have been introduced and you have been warned. Puppy Potty reopening. That's right. The dogs, now their, what is it called? Relaxation station will now be open. Tony Mac got a vaccine. Congratulations, buddy. I am so pumped for you. Can't wait to get mine. Should we yell 1313 or Bricky Mouse if we see you in the park? Just yell Fresh Bake. That's what seems to work the best. Just yell Fresh Bake and that would be cool. So if you see me in the park, just yell Fresh Bake. just say, hey, Bricky, what's up, man? Just come up to me and say hi. Mike Creeper, what's up? Look at you just coming out of the woodworks. just say Brickey, or hey, don't even yell at me. Just walk up and be like, "What's up, man? I'm Club 1313. I live stream. Like, let's just hang." Or yell fresh bake. Yeah, fellow citizen of Disneyland's a mouthful, but I like where you're going there, Veronica. I like that. Brickey Gone Wild. Just look for, go over to the podcast store and look for Hammer Time, and and you were warned. What's up, Miguel? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, I mean, just come up and say hi. So anyways, to wrap up this, give a thumbs up to today's video too. Come on, if you're having fun here. It is a lot to say. Yeah, we'll have to get that shortened down. But anyways, I mean, I would say that if you see me and you want to say hi, just come up and talk to me. Hey, my name's, like, tell me, I love meeting people. So just like, hey, my name is Anna B. I saw Anna B and Amanda K. I didn't get to say hi to him that long because I was getting ready to go do my shopping date with my niece, but I got to say hi to him, and it felt weird because it was like, I want to hug you guys, but I guess I got to do this weird elbow thing that I had just done earlier with Adam, the Woo, and Spencer from Best Life and Beyond. I bumped into them, and Adam and I were talking because I thought maybe in Adam and I's bands had crossed paths in our different lives. But yeah, just come up and say hi, man. Let's just hang out. I love it. All right. So there we go. California at home order is lifted. Gone Hollywood is not going to be returning. The Starbucks is not returning. The food carts are already going. The restaurants will be soon behind it. They did say that you'll be able to book reservations over on the Disneyland app. I really encourage you to book ahead reservations. Not only does it make it really easy to just know that you have a time and a spot to eat, but also when it gets back to being busy, when you have a reservation, you will always be let into the park 15 minutes before your reservation. So if you show up and the whole parking lot behind the AMC is jam-packed with people just looking to get back inside the magic, just go sit back in your car, put YouTube up on the big monitor you got there, and wait till 15 minutes before your reservation, and then go back and they will let you skip the line. Pro tip. All right. Disneyland Man says, I'll yell ginger power. My wife and half of my kids are redhead, and it's awesome. Hey, man, after what happened on the 6th, I don't know if you want to yell any sort of power in public. I might advise against that one, dude. Jeff Pike says, met Brickey almost a year ago to this day. Mark is really easy to talk to. Jeff and I hung out on the patio in Fantasia Gardens for like a solid hour. Like just, and then we hung out 2 or 3 days later, and I bought him Salt and Straw, even though he would not take it from him. Like, you got to have Salt and Straw. So yeah, let's hang out. All right, let's move over to our next topic of today's live stream. And I hope you're having fun today and you give this video a big thumbs up and leave a comment after it posts. But let's get over to our next topic right after this word from our sponsor.
Come on, gang. This year, everyone wins at Disneyland. Right, Mickey? We've got RCA TVs, Mickey Mouse watches, hurry up, collectible pins, PSA tickets, and Kodak cameras, popcorn and passports, even 1986 Pontiac Firebird. So what's that mean? Everyone wins every day. I don't hear you. Everyone wins every day.
There we go. Nothing like seeing a Camaro driving, Pontiac Firebird driving down Main Street, USA. Oh man, that is great, right? I once went to this bizarro thing that Mice Chat put up. I love Mice Chat. I read it every Monday. I love it so much. Talked to Dusty Sage about doing an interview once, and it just kind of fell apart. But really big Mice Chat fan. Not the forums. I'm not a web message board guy. I like reading the content. But anyways, they put on this really interesting event over at the Anaheim Hotel, and they brought out all the original people that had opened up Disneyland. So it was the first settlers of Disneyland. And it was a lot of people that were kids that had worked in the park, but many of these kids, their parents were the lessees that owned the shops up and down Main Street and over in Adventureland. And they talked about how they would just be able to park their car behind their store, work all day, and then hop in the family car and rip back home to like Santa Monica. I'm like, first off, how do you commute from Santa Monica to Disneyland? That today would be 5 hours of your day. And you could just park your car behind your store that you owned on Main Street. bizarro times. All right. This week, the Rainforest Cafe transformation began, where we're starting to see it turn into a Star Wars shop. I was lucky enough to be there Tuesday morning when this transformation started to find its way. By the way, Gina Duck, thank you so much coming in from Arizona with the super chat. I appreciate that. She says, we appreciate you. You are our people. Thanks for the update. Since the APs from Arizona can't be there, we love AID. I appreciate that so much. Knowing that there's APs out there that are watching along and I'm able to take you into the park and give you an idea every week what's happening, that is my absolute honor and the reason why I wanted to do this. So when I went to the park Tuesday morning, I did notice that the top of the Rainforest Cafe, one panel had been put up, but now the panels have been put all the way around. You can see that it's, as I sort of predicted, it's not at a Batuu level of theming, but it's a step beyond regular downtown Disney theming. So they are hitting that mid spot there. And then the front of it, as the week went on, I actually went back the next day to just see if I could capture another scoop and get anything new on there. They had added some of these satellite dishes across the front. It looks like they've converted some of the old torch platforms into satellite dishes to go along with the idea that this is a resistance base in the jungle. I do wish that the satellite on the top was maybe a little bit bigger. I also feel like the pergola maybe should have had some sort of camouflage draping put over it to make it feel a little bit more like the pergola was there to hide said rebel base or resistance base. But yeah, as we get a little bit of close-up, you get to see the different satellites. There's obviously a sign that's on the front. I'm hoping that the sign, has something cool going on, more so than what we got over at the Wonderground Gallery, that maybe it lights up or does something fun. There's the panel that's on the front part of the that top spire that faces all of us. And over at Walt Disney World News today, they put up this photo where it shows they've actually installed another little panel as you go into the doorway there. So I don't know. It's interesting to see this come along. I was maybe hoping for just a little bit more theming, but I'm not going to be critical because I'm going to be happy with what I get. I believe Ray's speeder bike will soon be put out on that platform where the Christmas trees were at. But I'm just really excited to have a Star Wars store, something new. I'm excited to see Disney do something new with this sort of space that had been put on pause. And I would love, while we're all together here, to hear your reactions. What do you think about this? Let's see here. Mark Welker says the light at the end of the tunnel might be far away, but we can see it. Yeah, it's feeling good now. Breeze throwing me the red balloon. Let's see here. Who is talking about the Star Wars? Bezbin Prime says, got to figure something out since they lost the contract to build a hotel over that area. Yeah, AMC, ESPN building, and the Rainforest Cafe are all, in my mind, on the chopping block. ESPN, they have done some stuff with. I know internally they do auditions and have, I think, a stage in there where they do some sort of cast member stuff. So ESPN might kind of be considered like already in use as a backstage type facility. But AMC, man, that's a massive footprint. And I don't think anybody's really excited to get back into a movie theater under these current conditions. Veronica says it's still in the early stages, and I completely agree with her. Disneyland Man says, I remember Imagineers taking about 3 levels of signage in the Imagineering box course at the Khan Academy. Panels are all in one level. They'll probably will have added faded signs and other things to finish it. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all comes together. Scary Gary says, I'm excited to see the inside. Buffalo Family says, pergola needs to be rethemed or covered, not a very Star Wars looking structure. Yeah, the pergola is really the one thing that blows it for me. And in my mind, because, we're doing this on a budget, it would be the easiest thing to correct by just putting a camo canopy over it. That would be pretty affordable. AMC should be a Disney Plus theater. I talked about that before, Miguel, that, Amazon Prime and Netflix, they do limited screenings of their movies so their movies can be accepted into the Oscars, the Academy Awards. So wouldn't it be interesting if they took the AMC, downsized it to a 1-room, 2-room type movie theater? Don't keep it a Cineplex, but just a cinema, And that was a place where you could see some of the titles that just go straight over to Disney Plus. So they would still be qualified to go into the running for Academy Awards. I mean, Disney's not exactly like an Academy Award type studio, but that is an interesting take if they could use that. Bree says the pictures look cool. I'd like to see more. Karen says hopefully the interior will look cool. Do you think that they'll put a restaurant inside eventually? Karen, I think that that's on the table. You know, I mean, this was a former restaurant. So it's built with that in mind. It has plenty of outdoor seating. I think right now, everything with Disney is like, let's make an educated guess. Let's study it and then move forward. And even as we're seeing with the reopening of Disney's California Adventure, you know, a couple of things just aren't going to come back because it didn't pass the test the first time around. But you know, they're dying to get Carthay Circle back open because those reservations just were the hottest ticket in town. And that's what they're looking for right now, you know, is guaranteed income, people to come out, spend some money and entertain folks. So it'll be fun to see where it goes. Unique Monique, how you doing? Matt says that I think that it's promising. I want to wait till I see the inside. Jeff says Disney has fallen short with most of these overlays. I feel this one will be underwhelming. Launch Bay 2.0. Oh, Launch Bay. Ouch. What a sick burn. What a sick burn. Oh, man. Caitlin Collins, towards your next park Starbucks. Oh, thank you so much. Well, I'll get it at the big boy Starbucks and then wander it in. And I'll just carry it with me till I get to the best bench. Buffalo Family says they win awards for family animated features every year. The movies where they drink the cocoa and stuff. Oh, yeah. The movie with the little skeleton wants to become a boy, so he drinks the cocoa. So anyways, it'll be interesting to see how this transformation takes place. And when I'm looking at this, I'm being optimistic, but I'm thankful for what we get. All right, let's hop over into our new next story. Actually, you know what? Before we get in this story, I got to run another commercial break. I'll be right back after this commercial break.
It's here, McDonald's next big thing, the new Big and Tasty. Now just 99 cents to celebrate the opening of Disney's California Adventure, Disney's newest theme park, right next door to Disneyland in California. So, how does a 99-cent Big and Tasty sound?
I want to thank McDonald's for sponsoring today's live stream. Oh, yeah. Could you imagine if I had McDonald's money? Bam. It did look like Sarah Silverman, didn't it? You think Sarah Silverman was playing the mom in that commercial? All right. So we all know that on Tuesday of this week, we learned that many of us were now legacy annual pass holders. And I did a video about that came out last night. And with that video, I sort of explained that the legacy pass holder is a way to retain us, to hold us over, to keep us happy, because everything right now is moving so fast, they don't want us to go away. They really are trying to keep us together. So in last night's video, I'm borrowing a slide from that. Let's just kind of look at how fast this storyline has been moving. 114, Disney sunsets the annual pass program. A lot of people freaked out. I read between the lines and said, guys, it's sunset, there'll be a dark out period, sun will rise again, don't freak out. Then on 125, Ken Potrock, or as somebody suggested I should say Ken Potluck, even though he's had zero luck since he took over president job of Disneyland Resort, he did an interview in the OC Register, kind of trying to be more clear on what they were doing. 125 also, we start to get word that the Disneyland Resort, the survey on new APs had gone out. And then on this week, the 27th, we get even more information about the AP program. And then on the 28th, we get the notification that we are now, congratulations, legacy pass holders. Guys, this is a very, very aggressive timeline. I mean, this is going so fast that to me, it's really saying that they're trying to get this going as quickly as possible. And if you watch my Ken Potluck video that I did yesterday, or I think I want to go with this one, Kenny P rocks. I'm going to go with that one. Kenny P rocks. So Kenny P rocks said, if we had to open the park in 4 weeks, I don't think the new pass holder system would be ready. And to that I said, don't worry about it, Kenny P rocks. You're not going to be reopening in 4 weeks. Like, California is nowhere near 4 weeks from now. Disneyland could reopen, and in fact, they couldn't even reopen the park in 4 weeks. I think that they probably have about 4 months or so to go if we're going to still abide by the rules. We'll get to that in a minute. So I think that Kenny P. Rocks said that if we have more time, our hope is that we will open with a new pass. And people watching my video are being like, nah, passes are never coming back. Single day tickets forever. And I'm like, did you watch the video? He's the president of Disneyland. If you can trust anybody who's telling you that the passes are going to come back, it's Kenny P. Rocks, right? I mean, Kenny P. Rocks is the man. I like this new nickname. I am sticking with it. Kenny P. Rocks and JD. Yeah, I'll never get invited to anything that Disney does. But really the idea of the legacy pass holder is this is a way, what's that, Mouse Crazy? This is a way to make their customers feel special, because as I started to think about it, and you can watch yesterday's video, and I'm not trying to bait you into watching that, it's just, I really cover it in great detail. They had to get rid of the pass system because legally, as of March 14th, when the park's been closed a year, after it's been closed for a year, that means everybody's annual pass has lapsed. That is a logistical nightmare of bringing everybody back. Also, legally, people have paid for something that they can't give people, instant access every single day. So what they had to do is just do a force restart. They're going to bring it back. There's going to be a reservation system. So if you're getting a reservation to buy a single day ticket or getting a reservation to buy an annual pass, it doesn't matter. It's the same. Everybody still has to get a reservation. They just know, and I break it down on yesterday's video, that it is way more strategic to do an annual pass to get somebody at a longer term of spending. So when they come to the park, it feels free and they spend more money. I'm telling you that the annual pass will be back probably day one. They will probably announce that Disneyland's reopening, and then like a week or two later, they're like, don't forget, time to buy your new pass for a whole new park. And if it doesn't happen that quick, it will be months, not a year. And people are fighting me, telling me the video's clickbait and that I'm a pass hole and that passes are never coming back. Kenny P. Rocks said so. To those people, I say, are you watching the videos or just going through the internet and just commenting on things that make you angry? So love to hear your all's feature on what you think Kenny P. Rocks is up to. Mouse Crazy says, I'm right. Jeff Pike says, Kenny P always makes me think about good old Pop Rocks. Oh, Kenny Pop Rocks. I like that one. Disneyland Man says, I think the ultimate goal of the rapid changes are to do away with the option of just showing up at the park. Absolutely. But I have a theory on how that could return. With the restrictions coming and going, Disney needs to know who's going to be there days beforehand. Absolutely. Being able to manage how many people are going to show up this Monday is like the greatest thing a business could ever have. How much food to order, how much staff to bring in, how much security, how many people do we need working the parking garage? Like, that is such an insight to running your business. Cute Latin guy, I'll be the judge of how cute you are. Send me pics. Says, actually, this whole rollout of the new membership program was timed to go out as planned. People can only handle so much info at a time. Disney knows what they're doing. LOL. Cute Latin guy, and we're going to call you Latin guy until we can verify that you're cute. We're just not going to give you that title because you put it in your screen name. Joking. You're probably right. They probably had it rolled out that way, but it also does seem like with them doing interviews, like I believe the press releases could have been lined up, but him also doing the interviews, I just feel like bad news travels so much faster than good news. God knows that, especially when you're in the world of YouTube. I just think that the AP cancellation got so much further and bigger than what they thought. So we'll see what's up. But let's see here. Lori, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for your awesome content and live stream, Ricky. You have helped me get through this pandemic. Wow. And I appreciate you. Looking forward to saying hello in the park one day. Yeah, Lori, if you just see me yell fresh bake. Oh, JT, it wasn't clickbait. The whole thing was inside the video. I will never put anything on the thumbnail that's not inside the video. Let's see here. Miguel says, is it just me or is Disney rebranding AP to Legacy AP to keep us buying merch? Oh, I hate the color purple, but I would buy something that said Legacy Pass Holder. That is pretty sick. Unique says, you're not a pass hole. Katie Baker, what's up? How you doing? I think they may remove monthly payment option to reduce AP numbers. I believe that that's very something to be prepared for. Rihanna says, I haven't got my return for Villain Night last April. I'm not asking for a return for Star Wars Night. I want access to the park. I keep my money. That means I'm automatically going to get in that Star Wars Night when they redo it. Nikki says, I think the reservations won't be stressful as people are implying, but it will help Disney's business model. I don't think it will be that stressful either. And let's see here. Disneyland Xbox One Mickey Mouse. I think he's speaking in code. I think Chris is speaking in code to us. Veronica says, cute Latin guy. Did you see the angry reply someone gave me on another YouTube channel? The hate for APs is real. Oh, people hate APs. People hate us. They live in this fantasy land fantasy land, trademark. They're living in this bizarro land that if we don't have annual passes, they'll be able to go there with their family and like stretch out and like lay on Main Street and sunbathe and maybe put their toes in the water. It's Disney's job to pack the park. Whether there's APs there or discount tickets, they will always get it to that threshold. So to think that we all go away and then Disneyland suddenly goes back to 1955 attendance, get out of here. Get out of here. And by the way, I love that they hate us because it means they want to be us. All right, let's see here. Any word on ensuring if grandfathered SoCal annual passes? Oh, now that's interesting, Besmond. Are we grandfathered in? Mouse Crazy says, I'll pay $400 the most for a year pass. I think you might be able to get a lower level pass for that because it seemed like the pricing that they were teasing was $399 to $14 or $399 to $13.99. So there you go. Don't get your don't get your rebates. Guys, don't ask for refunds on those special nights because when those special nights happen, do you know how hard it's going to be to get a ticket for the next Villains Night or the next Star Wars Night? I mean, if you need the money, get the money. And I'm not judging you for that whatsoever. It's been a rough year financially for many folks. But if you don't need the money, keep it in the bank because it's going to be so hard to get after-hour tickets. I think park hopping will come back eventually, but not on day one. I think they will run the two parks as two separate entities because that gives them the ability to keep so many more people there. But just like we learned from Walt Disney World, park hopping will come back. And I also think, I was talking about this with somebody over in the chat. I believe that like maybe in a year or so, you'll be able to pick up your phone. And if you're a pass holder of a certain level after like 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I don't know what the time is, but after a certain time of the day, you'll be able to pick up your phone and you'll be able to look and it'll say, sorry, we're full, or it'll say, come on down. And you could just hit the button and say, I'm coming down, or maybe you could just come and get scanned in. Because in my mind, if Disney's running a little bit light and they're at the 6 o'clock threshold and they're like, we could fit 5,000 more fans. We could fit 10,000 more people. Why wouldn't they? I understand Disney fans are passionate and we overreact, but that's just the way it is. We got to just be patient and it'll all take care of itself. Miguel says the monthly payments were added when the economy was bad back in 2008. I don't see them removing the payment. The economy is not doing so hot right now. The only thing I might push back on you, Miguel, because that's solid thinking. I like how you're backing up that opinion with some science, is that they might want to reduce the amount of pass holders. So initially it might be pay up front. Once the COVID attendance restrictions are over with, it might go into, we got more room now, payments are back. It'll definitely be interesting to see how it goes. Definitely be interesting to see how it goes. All right, I got one last topic for you, and it's not a fun one, and we're going to probably run over a little bit today, but if you got to go, you got to go. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate that. Okay. So the next AP pass, it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I think that it's sooner than later. That is my prediction, and it's not a crazy prediction because Kenny P. Rocks is saying the same thing. All right. The one thing that I have heard, Scary Gary, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Okay. So one thing I've heard as I've been doing the Disneyland News reopening news series, I think I've done 13 episodes on the reopening of Disneyland. The one thing that I always get in the comments is, yeah, but what about Florida? And I always say, well, you know what? Florida, dog, that's a whole different state, different governor, different attitude. And when you're in California, you just can't worry about what Florida's doing. It's the same as, but mom, the other kids get to go do this, or the other kids got cars when they were 16. Well, maybe the other kids' parents are rich and your parents aren't. Like, but what about drives me insane? So let's talk, what about Florida? Because it seems that Florida has been asked by the CDC and the White House to be stricter on their COVID protocol. It seems that they are drifting into the red zone. The White House Coronavirus Task Force has announced that their recommendation that Florida should close down bars and restaurants. Basically, they want establishments where people are open-mouthed to pull back a little bit and to not have folks coming in, because that's one of the ways they believe things spread the fastest. Hey, Jagu, yeah, you showed up at the least fun part of the stream. Just scrub back. This part's boring. But anyways, so essentially Florida now is being asked on a federal level to sort of tighten up the ship. And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who has been very anti-lockdowns ever since the beginning, said, and this is a quote of the governor, "We believe every job is essential. You work in a restaurant, we have your back. If you're a hairstylist, we protect your right to earn a living. And if you're a parent, we ensure your kids have the right to in-person learning. Lockdowns do not work." So there you go. Okay. So if you look at the numbers, which this made me curious, how is Florida doing? Florida's new COVID cases are on the downswing, but their deaths are at a all-time high. And the same could be said for California. Our cases are on the downswing, but our deaths are at an all-time high. When I looked over at how the different counties are doing, it was very interesting to me that Orange County, out here in California, we are surrounded by all the other counties that are doing horrible. So really, when you look at Los Angeles County, Riverside, San Bernardino, San Diego, that is the community of people that go to Disneyland. So Disneyland, Orange County, essentially is like, you know, the black hole in the middle of this COVID region. And everything is just kind of sucking down. That's making it very hard for Orange County to reopen, which made me question, why were they so fast to get food and drink back in the park? Hey, I've missed it. I've wanted it to be there. I want people to work. I want people to make money, but I also want people to be safe. So I'm wondering if Gavin is feeling the peer pressure like he did this summer. So my honest estimation is right now, go have fun. If you feel safe doing it, go have fun. There's nothing wrong if you don't feel safe. I'm not going to call you a snowflake. I'm not going to call you precious. But here's the thing. Go enjoy yourself, be safe, be distant, and also be prepared for it to go back the other way. I think that we're really on a rocky spot right now, and it could go one way or the other. But so many people say, yeah, but Florida. I do remember when I was doing my channel, when I was doing this segment before, keep in mind that currently California has 39,000 people that have died of COVID-19. No laughing matter, that number. Florida has 26,000. Now, I ran the numbers a while ago, and our numbers were pretty much on tier. We were like almost at 40. They were almost at 20. But we have twice as many citizens. So if you were to take Florida up to our population, that would put Florida at about 52,000 dead versus our 39,000 dead. So it's hard. Nobody knows what's up. Everybody's doing, I believe, the best they can. Everybody's just trying to adjust whatever science or belief that they have. But when everybody's always says, what about Florida? What about Florida? Five Fires is better. You are a hater. If Five Fires is better, where's my balloon? But anyways, getting to this point, everybody's doing what they can. And everybody always says, but what about Florida? But what about Florida? And Florida is obviously having their own problem. They just have a governor that believes in going a different way. So we'll completely see how this goes. I don't think Florida is going to budge whatsoever. And, you know, it has been sort of unfair because it has been very unfair to California because they're trying to do the right thing and Florida's kind of on their own. But I would like to point out the Walt Disney World, because it is in Florida, is the only park that has opened up and never like gone back. And all the other parks that are located in areas that the officials are being a little bit more strict, you would say, or a little bit more apprehensive of just going in guns a-blazing, as it's not some sort of political pride to be anti-COVID or anti-shutdown. We've seen Paris open and close. They're now readjusting their reopening date. We've seen many of the Asian parks like slow down. So it's really interesting. And it goes to show how each one of these parks sit in a community that, you know, Disney has money and they have a lot of pool, but ultimately where you sit, you have to abide by the rules of that government, those political folks around you. So definitely going to be interesting to see, but it, you know, for me, somebody who's had to defend, like, well, California's trying to do the right thing. It was interesting to see Florida sort of drift into a bit of a danger zone and maybe to have to feel a little bit of the repercussions. All right, everybody, I know I ran over today, but let me see here. What do I got here? Lauren says, I really read a good article talking about the exact same thing, comparing California to Florida. Yeah, it's really interesting, Lauren, when the numbers aren't the same. So you kind of level them up, right, Lauren, to kind of get a real comparison, because it'd be easy to say, well, California has less deaths. Well, it also has half as many people. But I will say this, when I see people going to Walt Disney World, it looks enjoyable. It looks fun. I'm not one to get on a plane and fly out there. That seems a little bit wild for my own sort of personal way that I'm handling this, but, you know, to each their own. Lauren says, Walt Disney World is massive and has the open space to disperse people. Yeah, I mean, really, Walt Disney World and Disneyland, they follow the same template, but they have gone their own way, and sort of the audience that they serve, the way that they're laid out, the way that they work. I mean, to say that they're similar, one could argue that there's so many more ways that they are dissimilar. Let's see here. Green Apathy says Paris and Tokyo and Anaheim are in dense population areas and Orlando is not. There you go. I mean, Paris is definitely mega dense, and so is Tokyo, and so is Southern California. So that's definitely a good point. Scary Gary says, thanks, Bricky Mouse. I appreciate you showing up. Katie, I appreciate you showing up. And Cynthia says, I don't know why people keep picking on Florida. They're not the only state fully open. Oh, I'm not picking on them. I've just simply, like, so many people have just said, well, what about Florida? Everything's fine in Florida. What about California? And everything's not fine in Florida. Everything's not fine anywhere. Like, you can't find a place on planet Earth where everything is just like totally fine. So I don't bring it up to say, nah, you know, or to pick on Florida, just to simply say Florida is having their problems. They just have elected officials that feel comfortable going in a different path. And so as somebody who's really tried to argue on the side of, well, maybe Disneyland shouldn't be open, this type of thing just kind of adds a little bit of substance to do that. All right, everybody, let's get out of here. And I want to thank everybody for showing up. I want to thank everybody in the chat that seems to have my my back with the beef that's going on in the Disneyland blogosphere. And remember, if you see me out at the park, just say Fresh Bake. That's all you That's all you got to do. All right. I hope you had so much fun. Please give this video a thumbs up. If you see it later, leave a comment. Amanda K, thank you so much for coming over and giving me the super chat and saying, hey, I sincerely appreciate that. Good seeing you in the park. I can't wait till we hang out again. Sweep Spot, good to see you, bud. Make sure you guys go listen to the Sweep Spot podcast. Such great guys, OG Disneyland cast members. Jeff Pike says, I'm with Breeze. Awesome community here. Mark, thanks for getting us all together. And then look at that. A lot of people saying Fresh Bake to me to say goodbye. I love that. Hey, Gabby, what's up? I appreciate the 5 fires. That's sick, man. I appreciate that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. And friends, until the next time I can see you floating through the Nile on the Jungle Cruise, I will see you back here on the channel with more Disneyland news. Thank you so much. Oh, JT, last level, last minute, super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good one.